Hello and welcome back to the channel. We're in Way of the Hunter, and everybody's going to be familiar with this view here just outside the lodge in Aurora Shores. Today I'm going to be looking at a couple interesting science things about the game, looking at some of how the ammunition works and a couple of our rifles here, and also more in-depth look into the damage model. So we will be doing some hunting to go over this, and I will be going over some of the things we're going to be looking at. Two overall big categories. But first things first, we got to figure out exactly how I'm going to be doing some of the testing and what I did on the last maps. Oh, look at this! There's a herd coming right out here. Basically, I'm now using the Alaskan moose as my ballistic gel for the testing. I used to be using the Nez Perce moose, but these guys are bigger. You actually want to be using the biggest animals you can, which would be the bison. However, the moose allow you to call them in, which kind of gives it the advantage. Okay, that's good there, guys. Do you want to move on instead of keep howling there? Two main things I'm going to be trying to look at. Now, full disclaimer, none of this is confirmed. And it's all hypothesis, and I just kind of record live, so if it doesn't work, I still let it go through because there's always learning and failure and everything like that. But the first test I'm looking at is actually an old question. By a long time ago, I actually brought up in a video, and I never got around to really testing it. But it branches off into other questions, and kind of get to the point here. I want to test out the differences between the 243 and the 7mm. So that is sort of a question that has been popping up all throughout kind of the game's history so far. Now it's testing them beyond the obvious, and the obvious is the 7mm's got more power, and the 243 is a flatter trajectory. But what we don't know is the comparison in the cavity damage between the two, and also the penetration level between the two. Look at all the animals coming out here to play. Oh my goodness. You can certainly find animals out here. Now, the first question between the two is, say you have two different ammunition types. So in this case, the 7mm-08 and the 243. The question is there a hidden penetration value programmed into the game which will simulate, the different sort of characteristics of the bullet, like the weight and everything like that, which we're thinking that definitely was, or is, but hasn't really been fully shown or tested. So basically the test is, or not really the test, but sort of, what we're trying to look at here is, if the 7mm and the 243 had the exact same energy level, does one penetrate farther than the other? Which would mean if one does penetrate further than the other, then there is a modifier on every single different ammunition, basically showing how far that'll penetrate into the animal, separate from the joules. Or is the game simple enough where it's just penetration equals the amount of joules? Now, most people have already probably come to their own conclusion, and that's fine, because it's probably the correct conclusion, that there is some modifier going on. But I just want to kind of look at it. I also want to look at the cavity damage between the 243 and the 7mm, just to see that difference there. Because I'm thinking, in my head, it's always been, I'm going to actually get going here towards these moose here. Just kind of get rolling here. But my feeling has always been, I've always been calling the 243 the heart shot rifle, and the 7mm that single lung knockout rifle. I'm just going to scare these guys here, because in my experience, I've never really done any specific testing on it. The 243 seems to penetrate farther than the 7mm, and I think a lot of people would agree with that. But I want to test, make sure that it's just not something that we're thinking or sort of thinking about, has happened. And as the 7mm, I treat it as the single lung kind of knockout weapon, because it doesn't penetrate far enough, but it unloads its cavity damage a lot more than the 243 does. Now I got a lot of things barking at me here, and I need to set up hunting moose cow here for this test. And I am on Explore difficulty just because it's easier to test that way. Got all the assists and able to control the animals well enough. 2-star adult, I gotta remember that guy. I got some moose in here. These guys are always great for testing. It's usually a large herd. I usually use the moose cow, and I've noticed that if it's young adult or mature, most of the damage model all stays the same. Like it'll be different between the males and the females, but if it's the female size doesn't seem to matter, or the bull size doesn't seem to matter, like the age, the damage model still kind of works. So I'm going to ignore, like I'm going to be using moose cow, I believe, but I'm going to ignore the young, adult, mature, the differences between them, because in my experiences there is no difference there with how the penetration and damage affects them. And I could be wrong, of course, but I think the difference in those is going to be negligible if it is. So I need to set up a test here, because here comes cows here now. The shot placement, I would always prefer to do broadside, but I need the same distance. So I'm not worried about hitting at the same power. I just want to hit at the same distance, because that would also prove if one penetrates farther, because if I'm at the same distance, the 243 will be under power than the 7mm, and I'm thinking the 243 will travel the same distance or further with less power. So I'm going to try it that way first. And I know I've been talking a lot, but there's actually a big second part to all this stuff I'm doing here that's also kind of interesting, which I'll try and get to, but since I'm right here, I want to set up the first shot. When I make the shot, if it's, I think I'm going to go head on, because that's the easy shot to work with, the cow coming in. The problem is the bone. I don't want to hit that front, the front like rib cage part. Now I'm not a boneologist, so I don't know the name of it, but I want to avoid the bones as much as I can, because that'll, you know, I just want to do flesh mainly. So I'm going to try the front heart shot from the front at the same distance each, and I might be doing follow-up shots if it doesn't work, because I want to make sure that I get the bullet cam. So that's what we're trying first. I need flat though, because doing the test, I need flat ground, because if they're angled at any way, then the shot won't be the same. The trouble with the front shots is it's angled, right? The neck goes up, so you got to hit the exact same spot, or the flesh will start having its effect sooner, right? So the broadside's the best. Like I got one here. Can I just? I don't really want to use bulls though. I'm gonna try setting something up. I wanna use as little bone as possible, and the broadside lung would be the best. I wonder if I can set one up here. Okay, I've alerted them all. Carry on with what you're doing. I am but a shrubbery. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I've only got broadside here. I was moving kind of fast. This looks fairly flat if I can get around here. No, quit. Quit looking at me. I'm not here. Now look at the odd antlers on that guy there. This guy's gonna be good though. I should actually record that guy. Okay, I need to swing around a little bit more. I don't want any quarter at all. All right, I'm gonna keep slowly moving around here. Okay, there we go. Maybe I should. Oh, that's kind of broadside. That's pretty good. 80 meters. That's okay. I can repeat an 80 meter shot. I need you to stop. Perfect. 243 is gonna be the first one. Got to pick the location. We're gonna do right. I don't know. We're gonna do right in the armpit here. Okay, that's a kill, so that's good. Okay, alright. So that's going to be a hard shot, so I'm going to have to repeat that again. Alright, so let's go take a look here on the penetration of the 243. Alright, so a slight hiccup in the plan. I had a Unreal Engine 4 general crash after the last clip there. So it put me back about 5 minutes, so the moose cow is back alive again. I'm starting to get crashes now. I went to Windows 11, so this is like a fresh install on a fresh like format and everything like that. Now I carried over my save, of course, but ever since then I'm getting these general errors. So I'm thinking. It's because my save was from the dev build and now it's on the main, because I had a problem going back before. So I have a huge concern that my save file's corrupted somehow. I got a few ideas to fix it. I might load back up on the dev build to see, but this could cause some problems in the future. So I'm going to have to repeat the shot again. So yeah, that's fun, because it was a good one. And they're not in the same spot again, but she's right down here again. So I'm going to see if I can set that back up again. Okay, since I loaded in those that moose herd there, she gets a second life, I guess. They're actually switching drink zones. So that one's not going to be one I'm going to pursue because they go off into the trees. So the next group's going to be up here, and I think they're a better choice for this test again here. Now, since I'm doing this kind of live, this is what I'm attempting to test, but I don't actually know if the crashes, how much they're going to continue. I think that's probably my third one recently. So if I keep encountering them, there might not be much accomplished in this video, but I'll try my best. I still have to get to the second part of it, but I really want to get one shot off here that actually works, because that was a good one. And it's gone now. But the crash is definitely is a concern for me, because I can't do a cleaner installed in this. Like brand new Windows 11, brand new video card that's tested out fine on everything, the drivers are updated, all that. I'm concerned that the save game's got a corruption somewhere in it, so that would not be good. But I think my first fix is I'll load up the dev build again and then put this save back on the dev build, because that's where it was from. Before I did the format, I couldn't actually go back to the main game, which is where I am now, like the main production build, because it was causing problems and resetting progress and stuff. Oh yeah, bison. No, I'm not worrying about you today. 2-star mature though. Now what do we got here? You guys see, I should be able to set a good broadside up here. Okay, looks like I have a adult female again. We're going to do about 100 meters, 243 out. Okay, oh, don't like the leg being back. We're going to try, oh there we go, we're going to try it again. Right kind of armpit location. You stand still. We're going to try. I don't know if I'm going to be able to repeat that one again. I didn't have the mark spot right. And is it actually, it might not even be a kill. Oh well, let's take a look. Okay, so that's not a kill. Alright, so we're going to try again. They didn't run too far, so I will set up another shot. After setting up that first shot and successfully doing it, and then crashing and losing to it, and now that one didn't work, well, the old motivation just took a big hit. Okay, I alerted them all again. I think I'm going to be switching to caller mode. We're going to try the front shots. They're just easier to set up. And I do want to have at least one 243 kill and one 7mm to at least look at, give us something to see. Because I can't, I won't be able to play forever to try and set up the shots. And I'm concerned about the crashing happening again. Okay, I don't have any coming into the call. I got a broadside here. We'll try a 130 shot, I guess. And just to try and see if I can set up multiple. She's quartering away though now. Like, yeah, not a single one is responding to the call, so that's just awesome. But they are stirred up from the shot, so I don't know, maybe their call response is disabled after a shot. I really want to get one here at least to look at. One of each here. Oh, here we go. Okay, so 130. Let's just try it. If I can land it this time. I was worried about trying to find the spot. I don't like it. Okay. So that looks pink. And I pretty much know the location of the hit, so I can repeat it. Now it should be coming up here. Yeah. Good. So that is a good hit. So at least we'll be able to look at one. Where did you go? Now to pick her up before the crash comes. Oh, she was lying down. I'm like, oh, I'll just go pick her up. And she got up and ran some more. Oh, and she stirred the rest of them up when she got up. And if I run over there, she'll probably get back up again. I kind of wanted them to stay put so I could do another shot on one of them. Oh, no, she's down. I got the Got the little aura here. It's the last time I crashed, right before I got to her, but looks like I'm gonna make it, maybe. Alright, let's take a look. Alright, so it's not the one I hit before, and it is a single lung. I noticed this before too. Look how low the shot is on the thing. I did not hit that low. It was up here. I did this test earlier. I was using the 338. I was testing something else. Exact same shot, exact same location. I hit up here, not down here. Same thing with the 338. So it's hitting below, and you can see the blue line. This is where it's saying it's going into the lung and out again. So basically, this is just sitting too low, about like a foot too low. It should be up there. So this is going to make it really hard to kind of figure out. You kind of have to, man, they're not making this easy to test this. You can see sort of the shape of the cavity damage, and then you want to look at the distance, how long it traveled. So it did go to the right lung, like it says it's in the right lung. Man, I wish that glitch wasn't there. It's going to make it really hard to sort through. Like if I do the same shot with the 7mm, we'll see if it lands it in the same spot anyways, but we can kind of take this picture here to see how far it traveled for penetration. So the 243 did not hit the heart, so if it was moved up about the foot, where did it go? Because that's kind of lined up where the heart is. Alright, I don't know where that bullet would have landed, but I know I shot higher than that. Huh. But if it was higher, it would have hit the heart, so why? Maybe it's back more? I don't know, I don't like it anyways. Oh well. I'll try to use that as some kind of measurement. I mean, if we do the same shot with the 243, and it doesn't clear the heart, then at least we'll know that, right? I gotta shoot at 130 meters. Or 2700 power. Okay, I'm gonna have to be quick here. I got a moose cow about the same distance. I gotta go over a bit, get broadside right on. Swing over here. We're gonna get this out. I'm about right at the same distance. 130. Now I need her to stop again. I don't like the angle though. I don't like how she's angling up. Darn. Come on there and stop you. No, I think they got some destination in mind, which is gonna mess us up. Come on, you can stop. You don't need to keep walking forever here. Come on. I mean, that's pretty good broadside there. If you want to hold, that'd be great. I don't want to do a moving shot on this. Come on, how determined could you be, Cal? I'll let you stop right in here. Now, come on, you're right at the right distance. Come on, game. Come on, cow. And she's really, really focused on getting where she's going. I'm going to lose her here because she's... I'm going to lose her in elevation. Oh, man. Look at this. I can't make a shot. Alright, I just shot because I was getting grumpy. I'm not chasing her over that hill. Oh well, let's see if there's any blood I can use. Maybe we'll get some info from this. The other part of the stuff I've been learning with the damage model has to do with how damage is added up. Basically, on the right side of the harvest screen, you'll have all the different organs, but it's not necessarily organs, it's more like damage components, because flesh is in there and bone is in there. And I've been trying to figure out, what's this? This is probably, oh, that's not even blood. Oh, is it a kill? Oh, it is a kill. Okay, good job. 7mm. I've been trying to figure out, because you know how, like if you don't know, I think most people have sorted out by now. You get a kill when any of those damage components on the right side fill up fully, and if they fill up to 100%, I kind of call it hit points. or whatever, because each organ's got a different amount. When you fill it up 100% all the way, you'll get a kill, but it starts at a bleed kill, which means it does like this does. They'll run away for a distance, and that's if you fill up the bar fully. However, sometimes you'll get a little skull icon instead of like a little blood icon, and they'll drop instantly. And then I've been wondering exactly what causes that to happen. Now, most people have figured out that it's, you're hitting with a lot of damage into that single organ. And so I've been calling it kind of like an overkill. But I've been wondering about exactly how much damage is required to get that skull. So I've sorted out some of that. But I'll come back to that in a second. Let's pick her up before the game crashes. And see, look how high that hit, right? I'm not going to be able to get any sort of noticeable info from this. It's quartered. It hit a little bit more bone than the other one did. I'm not going to get anything from it. No. I mean, you can see where it landed. It landed above the heart. Same distance, so it's slightly more power. But I'm going to have to repeat, because you just can't take that. I'm not sure I'm going to get any usable info from here, because the first shot, of course, wasn't located correctly. The second shot, I just got mad at it. But that's showing you, though. Well, you can see the cone. The cone looks about the same. I know it might be hard to see in the video. The cone looks like it's the same as the 243, just wider, what you'd expect, slightly wider. But that it landed above the heart, so since it's quartering, at first glance, that looks like it traveled the same distance. But I'm going to have to do it again. Yeah, let's go find another one, I guess. Now, as I was saying there, though, I was starting to investigate exactly what conditions brought the skull, like the instant kill on, and I've been calling it an overkill. And I was able to do some math and some testing and actually sort it out. Now, of course, none of this is confirmed, and remember, the only consistent thing about this Way of the Hunter game is how inconsistent it is. So keep that in mind. But it looks like it is 150% damage to the bar. I went in sort of thinking before I did the test, like, a hypothesis here, that it was either going to be 150% damage to the bar or 200%. So it's either like 1.5 times the damage of the bar to get the skull, or double the bar damage, 200. And I did some math, and I'll tell you how I came about it. I was able to calculate how much damage it takes on these Alaskan moose to take out the flesh. And you can do it with the shotgun, because the shotgun doesn't penetrate very far. So if you hit with multiple times at a certain range on a shotgun, you can simply just add up the flesh damage in joules and see how much that flesh bar counts. So just for some side information, because I've only really been testing on these Alaskan moose, that flesh bar has 6,000 joules of basically hit points. So you will flesh kill an Alaskan moose. Doesn't seem to be if it's male or female. If you put 6,000 joules of damage into that flesh. So just as like a side piece of info, that 338 does just under 6,000 joules of energy at 50 meters to those moose. I had to clear my throat there. Actually, I'm going to be losing my voice here. I'll keep trying. So I thought that was interesting, because you can almost flesh kill a moose with a bad shot at 50 meters with 338. You can't quite. I'm kind of wondering if you're closer, will it pass that 6,000? Now it's approximately 6,000 joules, right? But it's just something interesting to see if you're wondering, exactly how much damage you need to do to the flesh on a certain animal. I've only been able to figure out the Alaskan moose. It's 6,000 joules of damage. And as another side piece of information, the bone category, it also is 6,000 joules of damage. But you'll never actually fill up the bone damage. That's something that I don't think can be done in the game. Remember, you can fill up any of those damage bars and get a kill. But the bone damage one you'll never fill up. If you have, I definitely want to see the screenshot of it. But you won't really get it filled up, because the flesh bar will fill up long before you'll be able to do enough damage to the bones to get a bone kill. But theoretically, you could get like a bone kill, excluding the skull, of course, in the spine. I'm just talking about the miscellaneous bones throughout the body, because by the time you hit enough bones, you're going to get a flesh kill. And if you keep hitting it, you'll actually get a skull on the flesh, so you won't ever get to that point. But since it's 150% damage, you will get an instant kill on a Alaskan moose if you put 9,000 joules of damage into the flesh. So that is what I've been able to sort out. Not really super useful, of course, but it kind of, if you start figuring out all this stuff, it kind of answers other questions as you kind of keep thinking about it. Because if you know how that flesh works, it works the same as all the other organs. So then you can figure out how much damage a lung will take and how much damage it requires to get the little skull. So you can kind of science it and sort it all out. Now the reason I'm trying to sort this all out is just kind of like, to learn some of the stuff that they don't tell us, and then sort of take that information and maybe learn to see exactly how the different ammunitions work, because soon, hopefully soon, they're going to come up with the update where you can switch the ammunitions in and out and get different ammunitions running. So that'll be really interesting. So that's kind of like piqued my, there's been no confirmed info on that. It's just something that's on the roadmap that hopefully is soon. But that's why it's bringing some of my questions up. I want to know if it's as simple as just like the amount of joules, or do all these ammunitions have different like modifiers in them, like how far they penetrate. I kind of think they do, which is why I'm doing this. Another example is the 30-30 and the 223. From my experience, it would seem the 223 penetrates farther with less energy than the 30-30, which would make sense, right? But I don't actually know if that's the case. I was going to use those two weapons as the test. But the 243 and the 7mm is a question that a lot of people have been having. I've got some moose up here, though, so hopefully I can get another try in. But the other reason I'm looking into this is not just penetration. I'm wondering if the bullets themselves have damage modifiers, just depending on like the type of bullets. It's not just joules that apply differently, right? Like does the 338 only require 900 joules to knock out a lung, where the 7mm requires like 1400 or something like that? Like, does that change? If that's the case, then it's going to be way too hard to figure out, which is okay, but I want to know if that sort of modifier is in there, especially if new different ammunitions are coming out, because it to figure out each different ammunition. It was just interesting to learn, and then you can see exactly which one's better in this scenario and which one's not, sort of thing. So the last moose I harvested with the 7mm is like, the harvest screen, of course, is off the screen. I'm not really going to load it up, but I was looking at it while I'm coming in here. Previously I'd calculated, because I've been trying to figure out how much damage each organ can take, sort of, right? Just to get an idea. So I'm looking at the lungs, because that's kind of one of the most important ones. And I was using the 270 at the time. And I calculated with several different shots and things, using, just math techniques and measuring stuff, that it was about 950 joules. It was under 1,000, but greater than 900 of energy to take out a lung. So then I'm like, okay, that's cool. But then the one I just hit here, I hit it with well over 1,400 when it impacted that lung. Something like 1,500 or greater than 1,500. So if it takes 950 joules of energy to knock out a lung, then like the overkill with my theory of 150%, would have happened on that moose I just did. It should have been like an overkill with that math. So that leads me to conclude that there is different damage modifiers for each ammunition type, which is cool, because then they're different, right? But it's something that there's no way I'd ever be able to sort out, right? But that's what I'm kind of wondering about. Can I sort it out? Can I pinpoint it down or not? But that's kind of what I'm thinking. So I got a moose cow here, just facing the wrong way. What kind of distance are we at? We're way too close. Somehow I got to get to 133, because this question's still way up in the air. I really want to know if this 7mm penetrates as far as the 250 or 243 does. I'm really kind of curious, but you do got to repeat the same shot, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that here. I got to get way back, and she's going to start going up this hill. And if I keep moving, I'm gonna spook them. Fun times here. Yeah, see, she's climbing this hill. Maybe I can go on this hill and watch them walk by, maybe? Okay, I got her about the right distance. I need her to stop, though. Good. Okay, the other shot was about there. I think maybe I was higher, but again, it doesn't matter since the bullet cam wasn't really in the right spot. But that was broadside. Is she actually going to die, though? One way to find out. Okay, so it was a kill, so hopefully we can get there safe and sound with the game running. And maybe this will be a better example. Okay, she didn't make it very far at all. So that should be about the same distance, though. So let's see what it did. So if it's just about power, the 7mm should have traveled further. But if it traveled less or equal to, then, much too high. Still not going to be a great one. Great for a test, but let's just see here. It looks like... You know what? I might have busted that myth there. That went through more flesh, like more like in a thicker part of the moose, and went just as far. Ooh, I thought the 243 penetrated farther though, like than this one clearly. This one, of course, hit with more energy, but only 200 joules more. So this only hit 200 joules more. And by me looking at it, like I know the other one was glitched, so maybe I'll do another shot with the 243. And I'll try and repeat right down the middle of the lung maybe. But at this glance, that 7mm had more meat to go through. And it looks like it went further. Only on 200 joules of energy more. So that's kind of saying, I think it even connected with a little bit more bone. The other one didn't have really, only had less than a smidgen of bone. So that's interesting because I thought the 243 had like a penetration bonus to it. This is making it look like it does not. So that is something I've been trying to figure out. Now how you calculate the rest on the screen is like I was saying before, all these components on the right here, you just have to fill up one to get the kill. So obviously we got the little blood symbol, so that means we just filled up the bar, but we did not do like the overkill to it, which appears to be 150%, but I'm having a little, like when it comes to the organ, it's not so simple as just straight pin damage on the flesh. But if I'm like looking at this one, I was gonna see if I can sort out the numbers. Alright, so I just kind of analyzed this just to see exactly like if there's anything kind of like to learn from this to some of the numbers I already have. So when it's showing, basically I'm looking at the line graph in the bottom right. Again, it might be hard to see on the video, but it's something just to, in your own game you can kind of look at here because it shows the energy levels and everything as it hits. So this one's showing that it hit flesh, but it hit bone immediately right after the flesh. So pretty much I didn't lose any energy into the flesh. The flesh damage is down here. Where it accumulated, it's kind of like the miscellaneous damage that accumulated between the left and right lung. So that's where the flesh damage was lost. But I'm mainly concerned about the energy between that goes through the lung. So how the damage is added up is when it enters the organ, the damage is pretty much done over time. So the joules just kind of like add up as it ticks away. But basically I started at close to 3,000 joules, right? Like 2,900 joules. I lost about 500 going through the bone, and then hit the lung doing about 2,400. I left the lung at 1,300 or so, so that is 1,100 joules of energy into the lung. So that does correspond with what I've been measuring so far, where it takes 950 joules of energy to knock out the lung. So it passed that 950 and knocked out the lung. And it landed about 1,100, but by my math, it's about 1,400 to do the overkill. So that corresponds to what I've been seeing so far. And then you can see sort of down at the bottom where it goes into the right lung, it only hits at, what's that, 320 joules of energy. So if you look at the bar, and I do another quick amount of math off of 320, so then you can sort of take the information off of that right lung, because we know it hit at 320, so we know it didn't leave that lung, so it got the full 320 joules. So you know that this right lung, this bar, cavity plus penetration, is 320. And if I kind of like look at the measurement on that bar, because I'm pretty sure it's linear, it's about 30%. So it's not quite a third, but it's more than a quarter. So basically, if you're doing 320, you go another 30%, you'd have 640. And then another 30%, you'd have 960, but the bar still wouldn't be filled. So I'd calculated 950 joules. But it looks like maybe they went with, nice straight simple math and just made this bar 1,000 joules. But that's kind of what I'm looking at to see how it changes. So then it would require 1,500 joules of energy to get the skull. So this one will be 1,000 joules, and it hit with 1,100, so that's why it got knocked out. And then you would skull at 1,500 or so. But what I'm trying to figure out is if these numbers change depending on the caliber and the ammunition you're using. So far, those numbers seem to be working, but I haven't done it very much, right? I'm just sort of making the video just to see what people think, and a lot of people, they're probably not going to care. They're just go around hunt and shoot things. But I'm quite curious as to sort of how they build that and how it's going to relate to, the updates that hopefully are coming with the different ammunitions and interchanging them in the rifles. Okay, I'm going to try and do one more. We're going to do mid-lung 243 on a moose cow. Broadside. Should be able to do that. We'll get one more test in, hopefully. Alright, it's next day. That first bit took up the better part of that one day, so I slept in the next one. It's now drink time again. All sorts of animals here. I got some caribou I need to call out here. But that'll be for another time. A couple of herds here that need some calling. I have a moose cow coming in there. You can tell I've taken down most of these moose over and over again because both bulls are young. I've already called them out. Oh, I got these guys coming right in too. Oh no, these are way too close. Oh, who's that back there? Alright, didn't actually know I was going to be in the way of these guys. So I need about 130 meters. He's 180. These guys should be getting in close. I'm hoping when they get to the creek here, they'll turn. He's too far. I mean, I could probably use the bull and get similar info, but I should try the cow. So we're going to 243. Center lung, center torso lung, the moose cow for a double lung, and just see how it compares here. But I need another about 130 meter shot. I want to do the same distance. Because even with the 200 joule, how come that one's crooked? What's going on there? The ground isn't crooked, right where you are. You're supposed to be my test one. I can't shoot you if you're diagonal. But even with the 200 joule boost on that 7mm, I was figuring the 243 would still go in further, would still penetrate further, just from my experience of using the two weapons. But that myth might be busted here. That 7mm went a good distance with only 200 joules more than that 243. And it went about 200 joules farther than I thought it would. Even a bit further than that, so I don't know. I hit more bones, so I'm not too sure that holds true, that the 243 penetrates farther than the 7mm. And that is what I'm wondering about, right? Are all the bullets more simple than we think they are? Or are they all calculated the same with just simply the joules of energy? Got a nice broadside right here, but you're way too close for this. Okay, so this one's broadside, sort of. A little too close, but I think she's slanted though. But maybe she's straightened up. Let's get the 243 out. What's the distance? I'm too close. Back up. Probably going to spook them. I can't really go back too far. I'm going to lose them. Alright, so too close. Too close, you're too close. This will be workable. If I go over here, I don't care if those ones on the right spook. Oh no, she's not going broadside, she's turning in. And she's continuing in. What? Man. What are you doing? Why couldn't you stop there? Did I spook them? Yeah, I did. Oh no. Yes, I did. Okay, that's fine. This one's my goal anyway, so here we go. Too close though. Too close. Oh, are they all spooking now? Hey, is that like the secondary spooking thing? I kind of think it was. Because that first group, it wasn't bothered by me. The other one ran into it. Yeah, so I know that's in the game. It's kind of like a wonky thing where animals will run right. Look, see? Look, these guys didn't care. They just went alert or something, right? But others will say I spooked them by moving around, but I'm an explorer difficulty. And no, I didn't. They will alert. These guys I was much closer to, and they ran into it. That was them increasing their alertness there. But it's not about convincing anyone, but basically that is what happened. I didn't spook that group there. It was basically whatever sound I was making added to them running into the group, and these guys went a bit alert on it. But now I gotta find another one again. I might as well call these guys out. Right? Which one was that? Which one was it? This one? Yeah, he's right in the middle. So hey, 243. That'll be a fine weapon for the job. There we go. So we'll take him down. He should fall soon. And then have to go find another moose. Alright, here he is. Might as well grab some more money and a good call. He should be a low-fit one anyways. Let's pick him up and see how the 243 did. Just as expected. Oh, it just nicked the heart. That was a little too high. Yep, just whizzed by it there. I thought I was going to get it, but oh well. So yeah, I was going to take a quick look at this one, see if I can infer any info from this screen. I haven't really looked at the caribou stats for the damage here. So this is where it gets weird, where I'm not too sure this can ever really be sorted out, which is kind of why I'm looking into this to see if it's something that can be sorted out or not. First off, I kind of calculated the flesh damage can take up to 4,000 joules of damage. So just as a side number, like I think this one's okay to learn because it's simple enough, the flesh damage, and it has some value to learning it, just so you know how many bad shots each animal can take, right? If you're preparing for your hunt. Now the organs are more complicated though, because I calculate this left lung to be about 450 joules right here. So that would put it about 850, 900 or so. Actually, no, maybe 800 full, like to fill up the bar. But then it doesn't correspond with the right lung, because the right lung only had 500 joules of energy enter it and knock it out. So the math between those doesn't work. Because 500 should have knocked it out if it's that. So then that brings the question. There's some kind of equation going on where the bullet's doing more damage, like the faster it's traveling, or the more power, which makes sense, right? But none of that's been clear and it's not explained anywhere, so I've been wondering if that's actually been programmed in. Because this one hit with about 440 joules, but it's going, it's right at the end, so it's going really slow. Yeah. It didn't go through the whole lung either, right? So it's not as simple as joules then, like just a straight calculation, because that's 440. At that damage rate, it would have had to travel twice the distance. Well, this one only had to do this short little distance not to knock the lung out. And so it only transferred 500 joules of energy into that lung, and it knocked it out easily. So yeah, so the damage must be which makes sense. I just didn't know how complicated their calculations were. If it's like a nice simple one you can figure out or not. It doesn't look like it can because and it does make sense. This isn't surprising. I just didn't know how complicated their calculations would be. But since the bullet hit at higher speed, higher up this graph, there's some kind of additional damage happening, which means these bars are not just a measurement of joules, they're management of damage, which takes the joules and then multiplies it in. So that's what I'm wondering, like if there's a factor of which ammunition you take and speed it's going at and all those things. Like, is the calculation that complicated? It's looking like it is. All right, so I think that's a fairly safe conclusion, which isn't too surprising, but there's never been a confirmation on it or anything like that, exactly how that damage adds up to each organ. Like, what sort of modifiers are there here? It got me thinking because of that ammunition change that's sort of coming up. It's supposed to be coming up anyways. And the fact that the crossbow hits with such lower kinetic energy than the rest, or lower joules than the bullets, they have to have a modifier applied. So it just kind of got me thinking. Although I am sort of glad I've been doing this test. I know the video's probably running on a little long with me talking a lot. And a lot of people just like to hunt and don't really want to make it that complicated. But some people do, like want to sort of figure this out. And I put the information out there because other people like to test around and play around, try and figure it out too. But just by looking at that screen there, like, it's not surprising, but I never really focused on it too much. Just to try and see it, but I don't think that kind of calculation is ever going to be known exactly how they did that there, because it is not that linear, or that line graph is not straight linear. There's other modifiers in place. It's not a straight transfer of joules into the bar like 1 to 1. There's definitely another modifier going on there, because there's no explaining why that, why the math would have came out to be like 900 joules on the one lung, where it was, less than 500 on the other one. And the only explanation is that bullet obviously is traveling faster and has more energy at the time, and there's some kind of multiplication going on there, other than a straight transfer of like linear joules. Which is good, because that means that the game's more realistic, so that's awesome. Alright, I should have a broadside coming up here on this one. Hopefully she can stop and I can get this shot in. She's not quite broadside. I'm still not close enough to make the shot the same. That would be good if she stops there, but of course she's not going to. Nope. If she's not going to cooperate, I might just use this bull. Come on, somebody stop. I might just use this bull. I know it's not exactly the same, but I mean, if the difference is not really clear, then it's not really going to matter too much. Yeah, so I'll swing a bit to the right here. Whee, and the wind will go at them. Yeah, you can't run around like that on 100 difficulty. She's kind of broadside too, isn't she? Okay, I can do the cow then. And I gotta back up a little bit. I don't think those are gonna stop it. This should be close enough for the test. Yes, it will. And of course she's gonna start walking. Okay. Center torso lung. I think that's pink, right? Yes, I think it is. Okay. Well, on another note, at 130 meters or so, the 7mm in the 243 seems to be okay for these moose. The other way I have to test this is with the 30-30 and the 243. So that should be okay, bud, right? Yeah, I might give her a minute to run out of steam there. But the other test, yeah, 30-30 and 223, I mean, they have fairly close damage, with 30-30 obviously more powerful, but the bullets are supposed to be really different. So the 223 should have like a penetration bonus to it over that 30-30. So that's the other two that I would think to sort of test this out. But I was hoping that the 243 and the 7mm would have like a clear winner on penetration level, right? Alright, so pick her up, and then we'll have to analyze this. And then I'm going to have to do the Diablo 4 open beta that is running for a couple days here. So that'll have my time taken up a little bit because I only get to play it for like 2 days. I've been playing Diablo games on release, or near the release, right? Ever since the first one. That's got to be, oh man, how long ago was the first Diablo? Must be 25 years? 25 years? Man. Alright, let's take a look. So not exactly center torso, and it didn't hit as much bone. So it didn't hit as much bone. Distance is the same. Power, of course, the power is only 100 joules lower, not 200. Maybe like 150. And does it have a penetration bonus? Oh, this one's going to be tricky. That looks like it did go further. Oh, I'm going to have to open. I won't have anything fancy comparing in the video here. You have to like rewind. See, that almost exited the... Oh, this is tricky. See, it didn't hit bone really at all. No, it didn't. It's just cavity damage on the bone, but the 7mm did. But the 7mm also hit with more energy. So those two should have equaled out. That's kind of looking like the 243 maybe does penetrate further. No, I'm gonna have to maybe bust that myth about, or say that's a myth. They do a little myth buster thing here on that 243 pinning further. Like here, it did penetrate further. Now I know I don't have anything fancy with like overland on it. I mean, you can, I don't know what timestamp the thing is in, but I'm looking at it on the other screen, where I'm looking kind of on that other move. So from this angle. And 243 definitely penetrated further. However, the key is down here on this second lung hit. The 243 hit this lung at 700 joules, where the 7mm didn't get there until about 400 joules or so, like down here, 300. So that would, and the difference being the 7mm lost. It lost about 500 joules of energy in the bone right at the start, where this one didn't, and that is definitely significant because the 243 hit with a little less than 100, so 120, so a little more than 120 joules, so it hit with less energy. But the 7mm had a minus of 500, which means a difference means the 243 has a difference of joules of 400 more than the 7mm example. So this distance does make more sense. The 243 actually hit with 400 joules more energy into the organ than the 7mm, which would account for the extra distance traveled. So man, I can't prove that one either. That's kind of running as expected there. Alright, so I know, kind of overly complicating the game a little bit. I don't know. This is what I do, try and sort it out. But yeah, I was really curious about that. 243, does it penetrate farther in the 7mm? After looking at that, I don't think it does. If it is, it's very small amount. I'm not too sure. So I'm a little disappointed there that there isn't a huge difference. Hi, ducks. But there isn't a huge difference in that. Really? I'm the worst at these ducks, trying to shoot them. Oh, trying to get them here. Okay, yeah, that one definitely should have been. It was like pretty much still on the screen. Oh, my controller is doing the little stick drift. Oh, that's way over. Oh, yeah, look at that. You can hit them right in the behind there, as long as they're pretty much sitting still in the sight. But yeah, that is something I wanted to look into. That was a long time sort of coming. The cavity damage looks like it's about the same kind of shape, and $1. And I mean, between the two, looks about the same. It's just the 7mm got some more because of the added power, just like a little bit more, and the penetration looks about the same. So yeah, the only I guess significant difference there, 243 is a flatter trajectory, while the 7mm drops off quicker, but you get that extra bonus. So it might be as simple as that. That's it. So 243 is a flatter trajectory, but the trade-off is slightly less power than the 7mm. So it's kind of the stuff we already knew. Oh, let's just, you know, since he's standing right here, needs a calling. What do we want? 243? Where's the heart sitting? This is pretty low, right? Oh, really? I want to get another shot in him because I don't think he would have died. I thought it was quicker to switch rifles. I'm not getting another shot through. Look at how heavy this is. He's probably fine. 243 just tickled him. You know, it's not like the 223 where it takes him right out for some reason. Yeah, oh well, not a big deal. Get the duck and check out this blood. Oh, so now this is strange. I actually had the Unreal Engine crash happen, but I just clicked on the screen around it and the game kept running. So I'm wondering if I'm even recording. Oh no, now it's crashing. Yep, so it crashed. So, anyways, yeah, so it's just a general kind of error I get. So I'm definitely going to look into that because it could definitely cause me some problems here if like the save game's corrupted or not. But anyways, that's something I'll look into. Hopefully I can get resolved or I can get something working around it. But I do want to thank you guys very much for watching. Hopefully it was some kind of interesting. Next time, if the crashes stay away, I do want to go down into that Amazon island and do a bit of a hunt there. So, thanks a bunch for watching, everybody. Take care.